Greetings, everyone. Good day. This is Russell Rucker. I'm here for another constitutional talk. You know, some of our founders were more important than other founders. You can rate them on what they did in their lives, and there's a lot to think about. And today I thought we discuss Robert Morris. Robert Morris is known as the financier of the revolution, and he's seated right here in the painting. Now, Robert Morris spent a lot of time raising funds for the revolution. He was in charge of the secret committee on trade, and he really was an important man. During the Declaration, he was opposed to the Declaration. He was opposed, and he wanted reconciliation with England rather than independence. Some of these men are very wealthy, and they were concerned about a big change. They wanted some kind of reconciliation. They wanted some kind of changes in how things were being done, but they didn't really want a full break. Now, he served in the Second Continental Congress, and the Declaration came up, and he voted no. But when they produced it and they started discussing it, and you got to the July 2nd, which was really their final vote on the matter, it was signed on July 4th after it was printed. But there were two men that were really, really opposed. John Dickinson was the other. So John Dickinson and Robert Morris, they actually did a favor by leaving the room and absenting themselves from the proceedings. And Robert Morris had even been chosen to the Annapolis Convention and didn't attend. He really was more of a reluctant person on declaring independence. But he once the revolution started, a declaration was signed. John Dickinson actually resigned from Congress, and he went and joined the military, leaving Robert Morris the sole representative that was opposed to independence in Congress. He was a very wealthy man, and he had done a lot of training in the shipping industry and in trade. And William Morris and Company made him a partner, and he served Congress to enforce the Continental Association. The Continental Association was passed, and its main objective was to limit trade with England until England would come around and make some changes. And there were times he even served as their chair when Franklin was absent. He also served on the Marine Committee, which basically put him in charge of the Navy, and he gave ships even to the cause. He served on the Committee of Trade, the Secret Committee of Trade, and the story of Betsy Ross and the members from the Secret Committee of Trade going to Betsy Ross and asking her to make a flag. And the story is that Washington had a rough drawing. And it's believed that Morris was there, with Washington and some others. Now, I know that's a little disputed, but the whole thing is believable, especially being they're all in the city. Betsy Ross's husband um, was very active in the movement. He died guarding munitions and black powder during an explosion, and her second husband even died in prison by the British. So she was very active. She knew Ben Franklin, Washington. They all went to the Chain Church, and there were really only a couple of people in the city that were active in the kind of trade she was involved in which she would have been making a flag. In fact, although we have no record of this specific flag her making, we do have records of her making flags for warships. So it's very believable. And Robert Morris was involved in that. By the end, he was involved in the North America Land Company, and he went broke during the Panic of 1797. And he served for a while in debtor's prison, and is one of the main reasons why we have bankruptcy laws today. Because after all he had done for the Republic, they didn't want to have him sitting in debtor's prison. Now, in the convention, he was being considered as as the president of the convention. Robert Morris was. Robert Morris stood up and he made a motion to make George Washington president of the convention. And that's how it got passed unanimously. So he removed, in making the motion himself, he removed himself from consideration. And that's an important thing to think about here. Um, the other thing, when Washington was president, he had asked Robert Morris to serve as Secretary of Treasury, and he declined. And he gave Hamilton's name. So there were many times when Morris, and this is probably one of the reasons he isn't as well known as he is he would decline to serve in an official capacity like that, where he was the head of that group or department. And he would offer someone else's name instead. So he was always willing to give up power in order for the betterment of the country. In 1785, he purchased a home on Market Street, 2 blocks from the State House. This is known as the President's House. And it served as the President's House until Adams had the capital moved down to D.C. And that's really, an important thing here is that he basically gave a house for a presidential use. He pushed forward Alexander Hamilton. He pushed forward George Washington. He was active in support of making Washington the commander in chief, although not the only one. He also was influential in pushing Jefferson to being the one to author the Declaration itself, even though he was opposed to the Declaration. So he did a lot of good for us, and I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. Robert Morris was active in the convention, talking on numerous issues, fighting for what he believed in, and helping to build a constitution that would be good for everyone. Robert Morris is one of our greatest founders. He's just less known because he would always put someone else first. And like Washington, he really didn't want to be that active. He just wanted to be back to his mercantile business, and in which he had made him very wealthy and live his own life. And this is really the the way of many of our founders. They were here temporarily to serve, to get a better government, and then to go home. I'd like to thank you for your time today. I want you to think about some of our founders and how important they really were. And I hope you join me again for the next constitutional talk. Please subscribe to my videos. Thank you very much and have a good day.